our country as of now. It's not a poor country, but the people running the country do not seem to have the best ideas to run this country. The way they go about doing things is the traditional way. It's an exploitative way. It is the way the colonialists came here to implement it. We cannot just allow people to do things on their own, leave farmers on their own, leave the youth on their own, leave the women on their own, everybody on your own.
This is Honorable Suwaibou Touray, a member of the National Assembly for Wulli East constituency. One of the roles of a National Assembly member or an MP is to represent their constituency in the assembly. But sometimes a National Assembly member will raise a concern of his people in the assembly and it will take forever before it gets approved. So Honorable Touray took it upon himself to solve some of the problems of his people all by himself. He divided his earnings into two. His allowance at the assembly goes to his people in Wulli and his salary goes to his family. Honorable Touray is clearly a selfless man who puts people first. He left his good-paying job at Peace Corps to get into politics.
What inspired you to get into politics?
Yes, when I came back from my travels and started working for the Peace Corps, I read one article from the PDYS. It automatically, pushed me to say that, well, you need to do something for your country because the country is poor, the people are poor, there was a lot of suffering, and the government continues to blame the drought for the hunger and so on and so forth, and then a lot of activism was going on, but then you will not see the direction. But when I read that article, it actually showed that there is a way to take the country from where it is to higher heights.
And recently we saw that the National Assembly members were given this, what is it called? This clothing allowance and things like that. So at your own level, you decided to give that back to your community. Why did you do that?
Yeah, well, that has been my tradition. I think you would know that when Honorable Celia Jatta won in 1997, he gave part of his salary to the Wulli people. And that's a trigger. And I could remember Honorable Halifa Sallah also renovated somewhere near a health center in Serakunda. So it has always, it's like it is part of our tradition to support our constituents wherever it is possible. I allocated my allowance to the Wulli East, and then my salary to my family. That's how I divided the thing. So all my allowance virtually goes to Wulli East, and my salary goes to my family. So supporting water projects, dug some boreholes, and continue to repair all the pumps, water pumps. Whichever water pump is spoiled in Wulli East, I would. They have these hand pumps. Whenever they have a problem, the organization I established is called Ready. And then I keep giving this money to the Ready to continuously repair the water pumps. The youth cohort, in terms of sports, keep on donating jerseys and donating footballs to them wherever it is necessary. And then there are other matters. When they want to repair dilapidated roads, give them the funds so that they will just hire tractors, buy fuel, etc., and then buy food. And then, it's like a teshito, and they will repair those roads. So those are some of the things. One garden that stands out very prominently, that is in Manjankunda, the women's garden. I fenced it with this wire because when they fence it in their own way, the animals always come in to spoil their garden. So I decided to use these funds to be able to fence their garden. So things like that I keep on doing in Wulli East for the last 5 years. I could say it's close to $1 million that was spent in Wulli East doing those type of things. But these 5 years, I reflected on the whole situation and said, well, you can do a lot of things like this, but you will not see the impact. So now what I'm going to do is that this clothing allowance, I will utilize it to make a budget. The urgent things first in Wulli East.
At the end of their 5-year term, Every National Assembly member is given like a pension or a tip sort of. And Honorable Touray used that money to buy a tractor for his people. And he did not stop there. He built a boys' quarter for a disabled youth in Wulli who lost his hut to the storm last year. He also sponsors up to 14 football teams in Wulli, gave money to women groups in Wulli for seeds and fertilizers, and many other things.
For National Assembly members, once you retire, once the 5 years is over, it means that you have retired. If you have another 5 years, then you retire again. So the first 5 years, that calculation was done, and for all members, 700,000 was allocated to all the members for their retirement, their gratuity. And I said, well, what can I do with this? I thought of Wulli again and said, well, the organization I established, that is the Wulli East Development Initiative, definitely need funds to carry out projects. So I asked them, what type of project do you really think, if it is provided, it will be able to definitely make a difference? So they came up, when they met, they came up with the suggestion of a tractor. I said, okay, so what I can do is, I will not be able to buy a brand new tractor, but I can invest my gratuity on a reconditioned tractor. And so therefore I consulted somebody from Wulli who is in that business in Spain. When I spent the allowance in that project, somebody in Europe, one Karamba Touray, was inspired, and so he pledged 5,000. So when he pledged 5,000, this person who is also from Wulli, who is in this tractor business, also said, well, I'm also going to put some accessories there, which will worth, something like 25,000. So that person also put in those accessories. So the whole total is 635,000. So I'm going to put in something like 605,000. To the project. So now the tractor is paid, and the accessories are also coming with the tractor. And then they are presently, the driver is also identified. So once the vehicle comes, the project will commence. Because the project, the tractor is supposed to be used for plowing during the rainy season. When the rainy season immediately commences, you have a lot of women who don't have equipment. They don't have any horse, they don't have any donkey, they don't have any equipment. Many people are looking up to tractors now because you can do more plowing, in an hour. So because of that, the tractor will be used for plowing the fields of the vulnerable people, like the women, the youth, etc., etc. And then during the dry season, the tractor will be used to engage in building construction, carrying stone, carrying sand, and that'll be mainly for income generation, so that the subsidy that's given to the vulnerable people during the rain season, will be able to be addressed.
Okay.
Like I said, one of the roles of an MP is to represent your people in the parliament. That is, you raise issues affecting them and the state does something about it. Like, it's not upon any member of the parliament to use their own money for the development of their constituency. So, I really don't know why he does it.
Well, I'm representing Wulli East, but I'm also representing the whole Gambia. Not only do I do for Wulli East, but I also, wherever possible, even yesterday, I was able to donate jerseys to Gambian. And I will keep on doing that. When we went on tour, I am part of the Human Rights Committee. And when we went on tour, from police station to police station, police station to police station, we come to discover that you have the ventilation for detainees at the police stations. It's just like this, very small. So you can hardly get the sufficient air to breathe. And that is dangerous for the prisoners. So after going, I come to discover that this is a trend. And then I said, well, this trend must change, because we keep on recommending. But I said, well, I have to do something myself to show to these people what we are talking about. So when we get to Sarangai, when I saw the air hole, I said, well, I must do something. I said, well, don't you have a welder here? They said, they have a welder. I said, well, call the welder. And when the welder comes, I said, well, that's how it should be. And then you put bogglers, Can you do that? He said, yes. It's 2 shells. So the welder man came and then I paid him and then he fixed everything.
Him directly from your pocket?
Yes, from my pocket. And then when we went to Basse, I promised them that I will do the same thing. And when we came to Mansakongo, I saw the sale also. I fixed that also. I gave them money to fix that also. So that became inspiring. And when other people read that from the net, from other places, then you see that inside training decided to take it up and said, well, they will do as much as they can because this is very important. It's a human rights issue. So these are meant to provide examples, good practices that people can pick up, so that we'll be able to help our people to come out of the situation that we are in. I'm not doing it for anything. I have been doing it well before politics, and I'll keep on doing it because I feel that when you gain more than your people, you need to give back to your people. And I believe that will encourage more people, not only in Wulli, but in other places, to do the same thing, or to even do more than I am doing. That's the reason why I'm doing it.
That's why you do it. Beautiful.
You know, the general role of the members of the National Assembly is threefold. They are assigned to serve as representatives of the people, not representatives of their constituencies, as some people say. It's like representing the whole Gambia. You also play the role of oversight. It's like we keep on giving money to the state. You know, the state does not get anything without coming here. So it's the National Assembly that provides funds to the government to be able to carry out projects, to carry out anything. So when we give them funds, we need to carry out oversight over them to ensure that what we give them goes to what we have, what it is meant for. That is oversight. The third one is lawmaking. That's the main one. No law can be made without the National Assembly. It's the National Assembly which is mandated to make laws. The executive can propose, the National Assembly members can propose, but it's the National Assembly that has the final say as to what law comes into being. So these are the three. But apart from that, as I said, National Assembly members have a role to inspire the nation to serve as ambassadors. So National Assembly role is wide. You will not know the end of it. That's why they say you must respect and promote the National Assembly better inside as well as outside. That is one of the reasons why they give those clothing allowances. You should always look National Assembly. So that is what is behind all these things.
That clothing allowance brought a lot of debate.
A lot of debate.
Yes, it was unnecessary. The Gambia, we are very poor. We are good. We have like other serious problems than clothing allowance.
Yeah, my position is that anything that I see is excessive. And it's provided to the National. You know, the National Assembly, the way it works, they don't ask you whether you like this or not. Once they say this is provided, it's provided for everybody, unless you say I don't want it. So if they give it to me and I know that it is excessive, I take it to. There are people who are supporting me. There are people in the country who need it, even if they don't support you, but they need it. You need to support those people because it is their property. When they give it to you and you don't need it, you transfer it to those people to benefit them. So that's how I see things. You talk to the government, they say government cannot do everything. I think you keep on hearing that phrase. And the reality is that the type of state that we are running, they cannot even solve the most urgent needs of a people. You know that if you go to my constituency, still now you have something like 10 villages that do not have clean drinking water. And they are small hamlets. So which means that if you have a way, either through NGOs or through your own effort, you can provide water for them. It is fine. You are reducing the difficulties that they are going through. You go to some communities and they tell you, animals are always destroying you search everywhere, you could not see support. And then you said, well, what I did there is I said, well, what I will do is that every month I'll put in 5,000. I'll give it to the people who are making this wire fence. You know, there are some brothers there who form an organization and they keep making these fences, wire fences for them. So I say every month I'll give them 5,000 from my allowance so that they'll be able to make this fence. And then they'll sell it to me at a meter. So when I calculated, I said, well, it will take something like, 8 months, for me to be able to complete fencing this place. So I went into that. I think that is a contribution. As I tell you, that is how to set an example. And you see that even the councillors in my constituency, my own councillors, which are receiving small allowances, are also contributing in their small way because of that example. So sometimes the council will say, well, the money we have from the area council to do this particular project, is sought by something like 10,000. And when they tell me that, then I will, contribute that 10,000 to their project. And then it becomes also, this is a way of telling the people that we are one. And I am your representative. So whatever small I can do, I'll do it in my own way. But I will also fight for you to ensure that what is due to you, at least you get a percentage of it. So if we come to make a budget here, you said you should have, for example, a borehole in Wulli, in a particular village. And it takes 3 years before they even give them water. You will budget and then a year will pass, they will not have water. You will budget again, a year will pass, it will not. So you get pissed off. You get frustrated. So you tend to say, well, what can I do? Let me try other NGOs. Let me try, collaborative effort. And then we go into milling machine also. You come to places where you see these women pounding and you know that definitely we should have passed this stage now. Machines are all over the place. Milling machines are all over the place. We could have got bigger machines that would pound all the coos and all the millet and everything, all the rice for all the women. Nobody should use this pestle to pound anymore. But then that's the situation. You cannot address everything. But then you do your little support and support wherever you can. You go to my constituency. I told them my own village. The youths are putting money together. They are little money, and the people outside, the Suwaibou people from the outside are also contributing, and now they are fencing their football field. So I was telling the minister that if these people fence the football field, why didn't the Ministry of Youth come and build them at least a pavilion, make it a mini stadium, and then they will also be able to use that stadium, to be able to generate, even if they are going to say every match, you pay $10 to be able to watch the match. So they'll be able to raise funds from that and maintain the facility and even improve it. So these are some of the things that we need to do. The youths have energy, and the only area they think that they need to do is to go to the back way. But the back way is a no-go area. Where you have 50-50 to die, I believe that if you are a wise man, you should not venture into that. But then desperation makes people to go, and then you cannot stop them. My own son is there. I did everything here to stop him here. I even sent him to Angola and other places so that he can do business there. But those places is also like here. So he decided to go the back way before I knew anything. He's there. So, but then these are dangerous things. So we must not encourage them. We must be able to create situations here that will allow our youth to be able to work and live in their own country and be able to see that they are making progress. You go to other countries, youths come, after school, they give them, some training, and they get the training, they get job, they give them, loan to be able to build a house, give them land, and they build. And once you have a land, you have a family, and you have a job, then you are settled. That's the type of thing that we must be thinking about. We cannot just allow people to do things on their own, leave farmers on their own, leave the youth on their own, leave the women on their own, everybody on your own.
Okay, so now what advice do you have for the Gambians out there, because we see we are all, I can say we are all guilty of this, Gambians, we tend to say, it is not my area, it is not my job, government will do call them, so let government take care of it. So what advice do you have for the Gambians out there?
We all know that our country, as of now, is not a poor country, but the people running the country do not seem to have the best ideas to run this country. Not that we don't have the resources. We have the resources.
Yeah, we have resources. Yeah.
But the way they go about doing things is the traditional way. It's an exploitative way. It is the way the colonialists came here to implement it. And they did that for their purpose. When you have a permanent secretary, when you have a minister, when you have a National Assembly member, when you have people at the top, usually were Europeans, were British. They handle, even the commissioners handle all that. So they give them good money, they give them good salary, they give them good allowances. So because the objective is that taking it back to UK. That is the objective of colonialism, is to colonize us, take our resources and take them. So the system we are running now is a neo-colonial system. It's a system that is brought here for the interest of the colonialists. Now, why can't we change that? We can change the pole. There are different poles. You have ministries. But those ministries, the way they operate, we can change their operation. We can change the allocation. We all say agriculture should have been the number one. Nobody in the world will say you will not support agriculture. We say Gambia is an agricultural country. We say 75 to 80% of our people are working in agriculture. So that's where we should give all the interest. That is the productive base of the Gambia. So now, if you have a budget of something like 24 billion, you can spend 2 billion, invest it into agriculture for the first year. The second year, you add another billion. The third year, every year you put a billion. And then the productive base is developing. It will compass three things. One is production. The next one is processing. The other one will deal with marketing. Because marketing too, you need resources, you need investment to do marketing, to scout for the market outside, the world market, and look at what the world market requires. What quality do they require? And so that your farmers, actually achieve that. When it comes to groundnut, you can turn groundnut into, process it into oil. You can process it into butter, margarine butter. You can process it into peanut butter. You can process it into toffee. You can process you have so many things that you can use groundnut in. So which means every 2 years, 3 years, we should be able to come with an industry that will be able to do the processing of that groundnut, because our people are already cultured in the production of groundnut. They cannot leave it. You cannot leave Domoda, I cannot leave Domoda. It's part of our diet. We all grew up. If you don't eat Domoda in a week, you will start complaining, looking for the Domoda. So you require Domoda. So the fact that the people, they are dependent on the groundnut, they cannot leave it. Even if it is not being sold, they will still want to produce it to be able to eat it. So therefore, you develop that. And then it becomes your crop. You go to, everybody is talking about Ukraine. They said Ukraine is producing what? What is Ukraine producing?
I think it's wheat.
Wheat. You see, you have not forgotten what Ukraine is producing. But if you ask some people what is Gambia producing, they will not be able to say. But Gambia is producing groundnut. So therefore, if you go anywhere in the world and ask the people, they should be able to tell you, Gambia, this is Gambia groundnut. They should be able to go to their supermarkets and buy groundnut that is from the Gambia in different process methods. That's how we should produce the groundnut. And when we do that, we will gain the dividend. And the dividend is when you process your product into finished products, you give the price. But if you leave it in a raw form, the person who buys it gives the price. So that's why we are not gaining the sweat that our farmers are spending on this ground. So you have oranges, you have mangoes. When the mango season comes here, everything goes rotten. When the orange season comes here, everything goes, many things goes. Maybe orange is better, people eat that a lot. And they take it to Senegal, Dakar. But for mango, because it is massive, it gets spoiled very easily. And therefore, it gets perused very easily. So therefore, it is required that we have machines to process that. How many people are drinking soft drink which has mango flavor
everywhere?
We have real mango. We don't have the flavor. We have real mango. So why don't we process that and process it in different ways so that those who are making this flavor will just come here and buy the mango from us and go and use that in their factories. And we can also do it in our factories. And there are many ways of processing mango. One, you can slice it into pieces and dry it.
Dried mangoes,
You have a machine that will just dry it, and then when you dry it, you just package it.
Chips,
and and that is one. If you want, you can make it into juice. If you want, you can leave it at that and then just save it in a cooler, in a cold store, and then export it. And many people will come and get that. If you go to Canada and other places where I studied, you go to a supermarket, you buy one mango at $5. So there is a market. You go to many countries, they don't produce mango. They just come and get the mango here and go and sell it. And our own businessmen, you empower them and they export the mango and then they get the dividend that we require. So this is what is going to give us the necessary foreign exchange that we require. But now, I tell you this year, the groundnut has lost the groundnut production used to give us the foreign exchange that we require. So that sector died. Now we went to tourism. Because of COVID, tourism also dwindled. I would not say die. The minister does not want to say die, but it has gone down. And therefore now, our main foreign exchange earner is the remittances coming from our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. So what I can advise the people, generally, is to support wherever we have, to support the vulnerable people. The vulnerable people will not be out of poverty by handouts. Like the government comes every year, they say there is a disaster, they give them handouts. I keep on dividing that for them. They will say we give them something like 1 million to 23,000. How do you call it? 23,000 beneficiaries. Then you divide the 1 million into 23,000 beneficiaries. Then you see that it's only a very small. That will not take anybody out of poverty.
But what are the things that you think are holding Gambia back?
What is holding us back mainly is, especially the government, is the policy they have. And that policy is, let's take loans. We take it to build gardens, we build boreholes. Anything you want to do, you take loan to do that. Or you take grant to do that. I want to explain grant because many people don't understand what grant is. If you have for example, you have the Chinese that build the road from Basse to Fatoto to Koina. They also build the two bridges. There is a lot of dancing about that. But that is not good for the country in the sense that they build those things, but they also require something from you. They say there is no free lunch. I think you know that. There is no free lunch. So when they do that, in their discussion, they are also interested for you to give them your sea, your ocean, to fish there, to create fish mills factories there. So they continually get the fish from your ocean, they process it in their factories, and they export it. That gives them millions of dollars, far more than what they have spent in your country. So that's what grant is. Grant is not free. They will give it to you this way, but they will take it on this way. So when you hear grant, they will think that it's free, but it's not free. So the other problem is the loan. You have the lending institutions, multilateral lending institutions, and that's being run by the IMF. They keep on giving loans to the Gambia. And then when they give loans, there is always an interest on the loan. Not only that interest, but they will say, when we give you loan now, right now, then the servicing of the loan will start now. They will say, for example, 1% of what we give you is what you should give us for 30 years to build this road for you. You understand? And then that 1%, you will keep on paying 1% for 30 years. That is 30%. Then they will come and say the interest on the loan, for example, is 10%. You understand? And it can go more than that. And if you don't pay, the interest can even double. So when you keep on taking loans from 1965 to now, that's the tradition. Until we get so used to the loan, we get addicted. One can say we are addicted. We are so used to it that we don't want to leave it. We in fact believe that we cannot do anything without taking loans. And therefore, that loan, even though we are paying every year, like for example, this year we are paying 5 billion and 290 million. That's what we are paying this year, 2022. Just interest on the loan. We are
just
paying
interest on the loan?
Just the interest that the loans are accruing. Wow. That's the loan repayment, the debt repayment, this year alone. So next year, the same. Next year, every year it increases because you keep on adding the loan, so the interest also increases. So this to now, despite the payment of loans and all this, now we are owing the international lenders 80-point-something billion dollars. $80 billion is equal to something like 86.6% of our GDP.
Wow.
So once you get to 100% of our GDP, it means that all the wealth in your country virtually belongs to lenders, belongs to the debtors, the people the debt collectors. So in order to make progress, we must dichotomize that, we must curtail that, we must reduce that. Some people say we cannot do without loan, but we can reduce it. We can use our own funds. And it has been proven. The roads that are building in Hakalang and other places, these are our own funds. We push the government until they come with an initiative to put our own funds in those places. They are not ready, but state by state, it is taking root. So those are the type of things that we do. And every year we say, well, our own funds, we are going to take this amount and put it into agriculture. Instead of saying we must take loan from Kuwait, we must take loan from there to there, for us to do our own agricultural projects. We can take loan from our own budget and do projects. And when we do that, we will respect it. Because what is happening is that these loans are prone to abuse. You bring cash dollars and you give it to them, they mismanage it. A lot of mismanagement is taking place. You read the Auditor General's report. It's full of mismanagement. It's going into individual people's pocket, which means that all of us will take loan for development, but it will not go into development. It will go into individual people's pocket. And then that repayment, and they'll take the money out of the country again to go and save it outside. And deprive the Gambia of it. This is what we call corruption. So unless, and you cannot curtail corruption when you yourself you are corrupt. And that's the dilemma of the country. The people who are supposed to fight corruption are themselves corrupt. And this is a dilemma. I don't know how we're going to address that. But let them bring the corruption bill, we pass it, and then maybe if we put people of integrity in there, it may help us to reduce the excesses. The major problem that is holding the Gambia now is this endless taking of loans and entering into grants, which will not go to serve the purpose, and then we keep on taking that. Because the people who are giving those loans outside there will never stop giving us loans because they are making profit. That is their business. So they will not stop. So the people who are also mismanaging these loans, these grants and loans in the agriculture sector will also not stop. Because that's their culture now. They will never stop. If you discover them, you remove them, the other people you will leave behind, they will also continue the same. But you must come with a mechanism so that those loans will be part and parcel of the whole budgeting system. So that the monitoring and everything will become thorough. So that this type of corruption will reduce. And once it is reduced, the Gambia will take off. I can assure you that. Because this is a very small country. The population is too small. In fact, that's our advantage. A lot of money is coming here, and the population is small. Imagine if they tell you the IMF has given us something like $16.1 million. Multiply that into Gambian dollars. That's not small money. Money will come here and disappear, and you will not see any trace of it. You will not even see the impact. And that's what we must study. We must study why all this money, millions are coming here without making any impact. Any physical impact, except to show us we built a road there, and they started counting the roads. And even the roads that they built 5 years back, 10 years back, they'll be counting those roads. We built a road, Laminkoto, Basse, even the grants, they'll be counting all that. But that's just to blindfold the people. But really, development is not taking place. It's very slow, very, very slow. It's like you take what they call two steps forward,
and then one step back.
Then you are in your same position. You have not that's what happens to us. Yeah, I'm afraid to say.
I wish we can all emulate Honorable Touray, do whatever we can for our country in our own little way at our own level. We don't have to sit and wait for the government, because the government cannot do everything, because we've been waiting for them since forever and nothing happens. So I think it's about time that we change plans and, take ownership. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Peace.